Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my shop. Today is September 15th and this is my weekly shop update. So I just got back yesterday, or I guess technically earlier today. I got home just after midnight this morning, I guess. So I'm back from Woodworking in America. I had a great time. It was definitely worth the trip. The best part about going is that you get to experience something that I have never experienced, and probably most people who are woodworkers don't. It's that you're just totally surrounded by people that are interested in woodworking. In fact, as you're walking around anywhere, anyone wearing one of these little badges is just ready to talk about woodworking. So you can really meet a lot of great people and just talk about what you're passionate about. Hell, the classes were really great as well. I got to see some amazing things. I took a class with Glenn Huey about the broken arch pediments. I took a carving class with Chuck Bender about carving shells. I got to see Roy Underhill speak, which was quite entertaining as well. He was talking about combination planes. That was a great experience too. And there's many other great speakers there as well. And there are a lot of great woodworkers there. So it was great. I'm really happy that I got to meet everyone that I did. I came back with so many more friends than I had before I left. So thank you for everyone for being so amazing and so welcoming while I was there. So since I was gone at the show this week, I didn't have a lot of time here in the shop, but I did continue to work on my stack of cutting boards. I'll give you a quick shot of that so you can see where it's at. I am almost up to the rafters now from the stack that's sitting on the workbench. I have, I think, 22 boards, and I'm just finishing up the last of my blanks. I have one of them here, and then I've got one more here to cut up into cutting boards. So I'm almost done with that finally. I went through half a gallon of glue last week actually, so I had to run out and buy another gallon of glue. So yeah, what you see here so far is a half a gallon of glue. A lot of glue into this project. So since I didn't have a lot to talk about this week as far as shop updates go, I thought I'd share another demo. So since I'm making end grain cutting boards, I thought it'd be interesting to see what would happen if I put one of these boards through the planer. Now a few months ago, a channel called MTMwood, he posted a video of how he runs his cutting boards always through the planer to flatten them. And that was very interesting for me, because pretty much the general consensus is you just shouldn't do it, and then you just don't do it and you don't really question why. So I thought it'd be interesting to go into a little bit more about the why behind why you're not supposed to do it or why it's not a good practice. So to understand why it's not typically a good idea to do that, we need to look at the structure of the wood and what the planer is designed to do. The planer is designed to basically scoop along and scoop out wood, not cut the fibers directly on top. And you can see that a lot if you have a board that has what's called short grain in it, and that is grain where it starts and stops kind of in the same plane. It's really at an angle. Ideally, your board would be having the grain run this way. So if you were to apply pressure to a straight grain board, it would actually split, and instead of the fibers tearing like it would if you had a straight grain board that you were bending. So if I take this this board here, it's not very thick, and I bend it and I try and break it, like let's see. Wow! Oh, there we go. You'll see the fibers actually split. They didn't tear. So there was actually a splitting action here, just like if you were chopping down through the end grain and splitting it like firewood or whatever. But we know wood splits along the grain. So you can think about that as you're running a cutting board through the planer. The planer is coming in and exerting a lot of force in this direction. And how much long grain surface is there here? Well, in this case, this is 1 3/4 inches. So obviously the thinner the board, the harder it is to be able to do this, because all that force is coming in here and it's going to try and cause these things to split, which is very easy in this case. So in that video by MTMwood, he gave a couple of tips to make this process a little more possible. And one of those is to apply, I lost my piece of wood here, to apply another piece of wood to the edge here. So as you're running it through the planer, I should use a smaller piece. So as you're running the board through the planer, this board here actually acts as a little bit of support. So if it tries to split, or it basically prevents it from splitting, So as it's coming through, this board is providing a lot more structural integrity to this whole setup. So today I thought I'd just give us a try. I'm not going to use any kind of edging. I'm going to run it through as is, just in case it does break, because I think it's going to be more interesting to you if these things do break. And that's really where the safety part comes in. As you're running these things through and this thing actually breaks, the planer will could actually shoot these things out at you. So just be aware of that. Other than that, as far as safety goes, it's not very safe for your project, I guess. This would be a very easy thing for it to go wrong pretty quickly and totally ruin your project. So if you're going to try this yourself, just keep that in mind. You're really risking the project a lot more here than a little more safer method like running it through a drum sander or using a router sled. So let me get the camera set up and we'll see what happens. I'm smiling now, we'll see. Alright, so I have the planer set so it's not going to take a cut in the first pass, so I can sneak up on the first cut. And you'll see right there as the board first exits the knives, the whole back corner of that board actually got knocked off. Now in the beginning here I did have to basically pull the board through by hand because the board was so uneven that the feed rollers weren't actually able to pull it through the planer itself. So, does this work? Yeah, I guess it kind of works. If you're going to do this seriously, just like mtmwood showed in his video, you should definitely wrap this whole thing in basically in another board, a long grain board, to give it more support. You can see on the back side, you can really see how much stress these things are under as they're running through. The planer actually just knocked off this whole chunk. It could be dangerous if you're actually standing anywhere in the infeed or outfeed area. I was standing right in the middle, right above the cutter head or the casting there. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, it works. It's flat. It's fine, I guess. But I don't think it's really faster than just doing it with like a router sled or even the drum sander, just because you have to add those strips to the edges, which is going to add to the amount of time you have to make the board. But I don't know, that works. So it's not that you can't do it or that you shouldn't do it. You just need to be aware of the risks that you take when you're doing it. It's more the risks to the project than anything else. So that's all for me for this week. Thanks as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I just want to say thank you again to all the great people I met at WIA. It was awesome meeting you all. I hope to see everyone again and maybe some new faces. Hopefully I'll go again next year. But again, if you have any questions or comments about anything I talked about this week or anything here in my shop, please leave me a comment. I always appreciate those. And as always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next week, happy woodworking.